this is my full review of the Microsoft Band. So, a couple things to get out of the way real quick. Just the wearability and the usability of it. It is a pretty durable build, which is good and bad. It does not have much flex to it, but you're definitely not going to break it. And when I first got it, I was afraid when I opened it, because there wasn't a lot of flex to this here, that I might actually break it. But I've actually gotten pretty comfortable with just bending it to go on the wrist and then snapping it down into place. So that is actually going pretty good. One thing is, how does it feel on the wrist? It's definitely not as comfortable as a regular watch, just because of the odd shape of it. So you do kind of get pressure in some areas and not in others. But after a day or two, I really didn't notice it anymore. It just began to feel like any other watch. So if you're used to wearing a watch, I don't think it'll be any issue. If you're not, it will take a little bit of time to get used to. Another thing is, does it get in the way? Because of the awkward shape, and you can see here like how it sticks out around my wrist, it does get in the way a little bit when you're like maybe putting on a jacket, or using your hands to, like even when I notice putting a trash bag into the, putting a new trash bag in, it would actually get snagged on it just a little bit, but not too bad, but not as good as it probably could be. But let's go ahead and get a little deeper into the review. A couple complaints. The first is that it is not a one-size-fits-all. So there is 3 sizes available through Microsoft, small, medium, and a large, and that basically is the difference of the height of the band here. So the medium's going to be a little bit taller here. You do have some width adjustment here with the clip, so you can adjust it like that, all the way down to like that. So it does give some adjustment, but you're not going to be able to share it with somebody who has a definitely different size wrist, but you probably wouldn't want to be sharing it anyways because it is such a personal device. Some good things about it is the battery life is actually really good. Microsoft advertised a 48-hour battery life, and this was fully charged yesterday evening, so over 24 hours ago, and you can see there it still has over 50% battery. Alright, it is multi-platform, which is definitely one of the advantages. So this will work on newer Android devices, the iPhone 4S and newer, and Windows Phone 8 and newer. It is water resistant, and I did do a little research on that. It is not actually designed to be taken like in the shower or to go swimming or anything like that with it. They just say it is water resistant. However, if you look up the actual regulations for the level of water resistance that it has been approved for, it actually is able to go 1 meter underwater for up to 30 minutes. And so I thought that was actually a pretty neat thing. I would not recommend doing that by any circumstance, because it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to still be working after that, but it does mean that they were able to pass some tests with that depth of water. Alright, one thing I noticed about the band when I first got it is that when I would turn the display off by hitting the power button, the display would just go black, and I was like, well, shouldn't it have an option to show the clock? That way it feels more like a wrist, and it does. But it is a setting you actually have to enable. So you have to turn the device on to go all the way to the right, tap on settings, and then there's an icon of a clock. You just tap on that and you turn watch mode on. Now I don't know why that would not have been enabled by default, because it seems like that would be a kind of a tricky feature to find, unless I guess you read owner's manuals. And you turn your device off and the screen just goes black. It's not very useful, so it seems like that would have been a cool feature for them to be on by default. The only thing I can think of is that with that feature on, maybe you don't get as long as battery life, but under some light usage, like I said, I've had no problem with this lasting a full 48 hours. So it does all the basics that you would expect from a fitness band. So it does keep track of your steps, how many miles you've traveled, calories, and your heart rate, which that is not my heart rate. That is because I keep moving my thumb over the sensor. If that was my heart rate, I might be in trouble. So just keep track of all the basics. You can also, of course, use it to start a run, or you can do exercise with it, and it'll log your heart rate, how many calories you burn for that particular activity. Notifications are pretty nice on it. You get text messages, will pop up right on the screen. And you can just tap on the message to, it'll show you like a preview by default, and from the preview you can actually swipe over and you can do an automatic reply, one of 4 automatic replies that you can set, and I'll show you in the app how to do that. But you can also choose to actually just tap on the message, and you can actually scroll down, and you'll actually be able to read the whole message. At first I was like, it's only able to preview a small amount, and then I realized you just have to tap on the message and then you can actually see more of it. If you do have a Windows phone, when you do, you can use Cortana, and that is the action button right here next to the power button. So you would just turn, actually no, I think you don't have to turn the device on, do you? No, you don't. Okay, perfect. Cancel. No, cancel. Okay, yep, so you don't have to have the device on. It can be completely off, it can be on your wrist, and you just hold down the action button on the right side there, and it will bring up Cortana. So this is the Microsoft Health app. This is the main screen here. It kind of gives you a summary of how many steps you've taken, how many calories have been burned, and then it will also show you any of your exercises. Depending on which apps you actually have enabled on the device will depend on which actually shows on the screen. This was actually pretty cool. The sleep keeps track of your sleep each night, tells you when you fell asleep, how well your sleep was, so I thought that was actually kind of neat. So you can do the same thing here. If you go to steps, it'll give you a summary of your day, when you walked the most. You can switch it here, what your heart rate was throughout the day. Interesting. Heart rate was kind of high. So it's interesting, some interesting data that you can go back on your day and just kind of have that. And there's more to this. I actually haven't used this too much to actually track exercise. I don't actually do much exercise, so my review of this unfortunately will be more of the technical notifications and some of the other little pieces of it. But up here in the top right corner, you can go to the band settings, and this is where I want to go through, hit Manage Tiles, and this is where you get a list of all the applications that are supported on the band. So you have messaging, and if you tap on messaging, you can go in here and you can change, and this is where you can edit the quick responses for your text messages. Same thing, you got mail. This lets you turn on and off the mail notifications. You can also set it so that you only get notifications for emails from certain people in your contact list. So obviously if you get a ton of email, you may not want every email notification coming to your band, but you can set it to only be for important people. You have Cortana. You can do voice notes, reminders, search, set an alarm. Real quick, while I'm thinking about it, the alarm feature does work on here, and pretty much what it does is it just vibrates. If you set the alarm on the band, you can say, set an alarm for this time, and it will just vibrate the band. It doesn't actually have an audible alert. You have calls, so you can get call notifications on your band. And again, you can also set different text message replies for that. These are different than your text message replies. These are actually your call text message replies. So that's cool that they're actually different, so you can make those different from each other. You have your calendar. You get basically just calendar notifications. Run. So you can choose here which data you want to see on the device's screen. So while you're going for a run, you can actually go in here and change what information you can see at a glance. So maybe you're not interested in the duration, you want to see your pace or your distance or something different. You can go in and change those options. Alright, and then you have exercise. which there are no settings for that. It's just basically the ability to start an exercise on your phone. It'll keep track of that, and then you can keep track of your time, calories, stuff like that. Same type of settings that you did for a certain fixed exercise. Sleep, basically when you start that, which is actually kind of, this is the one I used the most so far. You just go to sleep, and then you just press the action button, and it says good night, and now it's tracking your sleep. And then you hit it again, and it says, are you waking up? And you just hit yes, and then it'll actually tell you what your actual sleep time was. So that's actually kind of neat. I've even used that, excuse me, even use that for like taking a nap or something. You just start it before you go to take a nap or before you go to sleep, and it'll keep track of when you actually do fall asleep, how long you slept, and how well your sleep was. Alarm and timer. Again, I'll show you these settings on the phone because there are a few things you can do with this. You have the alarm right there where you can just basically set an alarm to go off at a certain time. But you also have a timer and a stopwatch. So if you start the stopwatch, it just starts counting up from 0. It's pretty simple, but handy little feature to have, and a feature you'd expect on a watch or a band. Guided workouts are if you have downloaded a certain routine or something like that. It'll actually guide you through that workout, and tell you when to take a break, tell you when to do a certain task, stuff like that. Weather, pretty simple. It just tells you the weather. You do get the weather, the current weather, as well as I'll show you. You get the current weather, and then you also get the forecast for the next few days. Finance allows you to track certain financial stock information. So basically just a quick glance of certain stocks. UV is actually kind of neat. It won't actually work here because we're inside, but you can tap the UV setting, and then it'll actually take a reading of the UV levels and to give you an estimate of how long you can be outside until you would get sunburn, which is very helpful for me. Starbucks, this is kind of I don't know how I feel about this yet. I think there needs to be more companies that do this, and then maybe it'll be useful, but Starbucks is a start. Basically allows you to add gift cards. I won't go into the settings because I don't want you to steal my gift card number. And then basically on the band, it just displays a barcode that they can scan, and it debits that amount from your gift card. Facebook, you get Facebook notifications. Pretty simple. With the Facebook notifications, though, you cannot actually read the entire notification most of the time. I think actually now I'm thinking about it, I've had sometimes where I can, sometimes I can't. I think it just depends on what was posted on Facebook. I think if it's just like a text type post, then you can. Obviously pictures, or if they shared something, you can't see that. Facebook Messenger is just going to give you notifications of anybody who messages you through Facebook. Same thing with Twitter. The Notification Center is actually how you would get, if you wanted your band to alert you of other notifications that aren't included in here. So for instance, I have a game on my phone that gives me notifications. If I turn that on, I actually get those notifications on the band. So once you had made your changes, made any configurations here, you can only have a certain number of apps enabled. So right now I do have a couple of them disabled, and that's just a limitation of how many apps you can have available at one point on the device. And so then you would just click Save here, and then it would update the device with your settings. Here you have Manage Tiles, so if you tap on that, you can go and you can change the order, which I just did and I didn't want to do. Let me change that back. So you can change the order of the apps as how they're listed on the band. So you can see here, the order matches the order I have set in the app. So it just gives you the ability to go in and customize that. Go back to the main home screen here, just so there we go. So if you hit the other icon over here in the top left corner, this gives you the menu, and then here's where you have the activity history. Actually took me a little while to figure out where that was. And this is actually where you can go through and see the history of all your activities that you've done. This includes sleeping, exercises. You can see here how little I exercised and how much I slept instead. Tells you a little bit about me. And then you can also go and you can find a workout that works for you, change your profile, stuff like that. So that's pretty much it with the band. Pretty complete overview of all the features that it has. I guess in summary, the final question would be, is it worth the money? Right now this is a $200 band from Microsoft. A normal or regular fitness band without the notifications, without the display, just a regular fitness band that would interact with an app on your phone. It's going to cost you $120. And so I guess the question to ask yourself is, do you want the notification features? Do you want the ability to see the text messages, and what is that worth to you? And for me, that's worth another, $80 to $100 for a device. If this device did none of the fitness things but gave me notifications, would I pay, $80 to $100 for it? Probably yes. It is convenient just to be able to look at your wrist real quick, see if it's something you need to take care of, or if not, or even just do a quick reply. It's a lot less intrusive than pulling out your phone. And like I said, I didn't really get it too much for the fitness aspect of it, but it has been actually really cool being able to see my, the heart rate, have that information there. The UV thing is actually kind of neat. So just some different features that are built into it that are pretty cool. So for me, yes, it's worth $200. It's not a full smartphone. There are some things that are going to be coming out with the Apple Watch that are going to be a little more interactive on the device itself, but the more I think about it, and actually the more I use this, the more I realize I don't really care about viewing pictures and viewing, more in-depth things on a device on my wrist. I want the device on my wrist to tell me time and give me some notifications and have a cool little, some little things I can use. But if I'm really going to look at content, I'm going to do that on my phone anyways. So that's my overview and thoughts on the Microsoft Band. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe for more reviews and tech videos. And thank you very much for watching.